The best marriage advice for longevity is actually something that I read in a newspaper article many years ago. This journalist was asking this couple who has been married for like 50 years. So they asked, what is the secret to your success? The guy actually said,
Oh,
I just felt like, wow.
You are a guy, right? And then you are low value in your own country. You go to somewhere else, you are being viewed as high value, right? But what happens if your country, right, quote unquote, is that low value country? Then you have no other country to go to, you know?
Has anyone ever tried to use your service to cheat on their other half?
In a world, right, where birth rates are falling, career ambitions are rising, right, and ghosting has somehow become more common than texting back, right, love is evolving in ways that we never imagined. Our dear friend here today has a great idea of told us to do a dating podcast because dating is getting harder and harder. It's like genuine relationships getting more and more rare. So today we have Violet from Love Actually. Oh my god.
Lunch Actually.
Yeah, Lunch Actually. Oh my god. Lunch Actually, and recently also Paktor.
Yes,
also.
that's right.
Yeah, maybe we can start with like how did that happen? Like the merger. Yeah.
So I think it's also a bit like dating. So we actually have known the founder and the CEO of Paktor for quite a while. So we have been friends and then we know each other. We keep up with best practices, talk about the industry. So I think when the timing was right, we decided to merge or get married. Yeah, because I think ultimately the industry is not that big, and I think we are in quite a lot of like similar markets as well. So we feel that coming together would actually help each other to grow bigger rather than competing head on head with each other.
That's what most people don't think. Most people don't think like that. Like even like for us in the clubbing industry, right? Clubs are just fighting clubs. They don't really think about merger, creating like a bigger brand. Yeah, has that resulted in overall bigger ROI than when you guys do it by yourself? Did it result in like a 1 + 1 = 3 situation?
I think definitely like any M&A, there will always be some feeding issues. That's normal because like even though when we first got together, like I say, we already know each other quite well, but then there would be some different culture, different company culture or different processes. So of course it took a while to get used to each other and work like smoothly with each other. But I would say definitely there are a lot of wins in the sense like, for example, we are able to merge some of the back end together and also like really leverage on each other's strength as well. So I think for Paktor has always been very strong in terms of dating app, in terms of tech. And then I think for Lunch Actually, we have always been in the forefront of matchmaking and offline dating. So I think coming together has helped us to really learn from each other's best practices and strengthened like the different, I would say, pillars of the company.
Wow. Okay. So it's by this younger gentleman, right? And I guess they are more towards that tech kind of stuff. Yeah. I think before we go deeper into that, right, maybe we just cover a little bit about what the typical audience will be more interested in. And then after that, right, we can go to what we love, the juicy business side. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Like many things, right? Dating apps used to be taboo. Yeah, similar to like finding love in club, which is how I met my girlfriend as well. That's also why when we had our initial phone call, right, I told you I never actually used a dating app before because I had a real life version. So how did it slowly become destigmatized in today's day and age? I still remember how awkward it was when camera phone was first invented and then I had to take a selfie secretly. Like,
I think it really is a build up. So clearly, like when Match.com first come in, people were like thinking like, it's like everybody was like, okay, does this work? Am I going to do it? So I think like when like it was more the online dating with the computer, there was a bit of pickup, but I think the pickup was not as strong until Tinder really came into the market.
Oh yeah, I remember when Tinder first came. It was like the app for people to hook up like crazy.
Tinder is not Singapore. It's not a Singaporean app.
No, it's not. It's an international app.
It was from like California.
Yes, from US and
Okay.
So I think what really helped Tinder take off is also like this double blind system. Which is really quite smart in the sense that you would only know that someone has swiped on you if you swipe on the person as well. Yeah, so I think that really creates a space where it's not just about dating, but I think they're really getting like self-validation from it as well.
Oh my god, social media lor.
Yeah, so I think that was probably one of the reasons why like it really took off. And I think it's just like everything comes together because clearly like with smartphones, with like video calls, with like voice calls and big camera phones and things like that. So I think everything coming together which really propel dating apps into the mainstream. So like what you say about clubs in the past. So of course, like one of the things about using a dating app is that you can use it anytime and anywhere.
Yeah.
So going clubbing, you still need to, okay, I need to go and change. I need to like take a Grab or drive to a club and then I go meet people.
Dress up, make sure I'm not smelly.
Exactly. Yeah, but with dating app, honestly, you can just use it like anytime, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that increase in convenience created more problems than it solves? Yeah.
That's such a hard question, right?
I just thought of this.
I think that's a very good question, actually. So I think on one hand, definitely dating app has increased the convenience of meeting new people.
Yeah.
But I think the challenge is also it has created like what I would call paradox of choice.
Not parasocial relationship.
No.
Paradox of choice. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes. Because it's like in the past, like where it's not so easy to meet people, right? Like every single person you meet, you're okay, let's try it out, let's find out a bit more about this person, let's go on a second date, let's go on a third date. But now with dating app, it's very much, it's okay like if this one doesn't work out or I don't really like this person, I can always just next. And even if this person is like really not bad, but you will always be thinking like, would the next person be better? So I think it gives people a hard time sometimes to decide that, okay, I'm going to really commit to this person and try it out with this person.
I saw this funny Indonesian TikToker, right? He'll just go on the streets and randomly do street interview. But the interviewee, right, is often his family member. He just go to a random street and his mother is there, then he talk to his mom, right? then they will give funny answers.
Yeah.
But one episode where there wasn't a funny answer is nowadays relationships are, when it doesn't work out, we leave instead of repairing the relationship. Then got a crap ton of shares, views, people like really agree. So do you think the whole entire root of the problem comes from something like a dating app where we just have abundance of choice? Before we start this podcast, we're talking about job hopping, Gen Z job hopping.
Yes.
It feels like everything is interconnected. Yeah, don't you think so?
Yeah, it is. So I guess in the past, like maybe when people have problems in their relationship or even in their marriage, they tend to try a lot harder to make it work.
Yeah.
But I think now it's not just about the choices, but I think it's also the focus on really self-happiness or self-fulfillment. So I think like the whole Maslow hierarchy, right?
That's your favorite.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. So like in the past, maybe people will, I need to get this done. But now I think like we have everything, and it's really like that self-fulfillment. And I think people are more likely to just walk out of a relationship or even a marriage when it's not as if there's something very wrong with it. It's just they're like, I'm just not happy, lor. Yeah.
It's back in the day, our grandparents' day, right?
Yeah.
The threshold is higher.
Yeah, they probably felt the same thing, you know what I mean? They probably also felt a bit not happy, but they're like, okay, I'm just going to make it work. I'm going to try a bit harder. But I think now it's okay. Like, for example, like they might feel that I'm like financially independent, like I don't really need to rely on like my partner to provide for me and things like that. Then I'm not happy, then it's okay, you know, like why not I just move on?
Oftentimes we view this as bad, new generation of thinking. But then to challenge that thinking, I also have friends whose parents are still together after 40 years, but they are not sleeping in the same room. Which one is worse?
Exactly. So I think I'm not saying it's good or bad. I think it's just that
Evolution.
values have changed and I think priority has changed. So I think ultimately it's also about what that person wants and what works for that person as well.
There's also on the flip side where, you know, some people are also forced to stay in a relationship. If there's no choice, some people are like, okay, I don't have an option to leave this relationship.
Yes.
So they keep staying into it,
Yes.
and then they continuously suffer. Where I think like this kind of dating has allowed people to decide that they don't have to stay in a horrible relationship anymore. And there's a lot more like freedom of choice for people to move on. Like I think very long ago, like there's a stigma where if a woman divorces from their husband, they basically cannot find love anymore. I think now these days is pretty much if you're divorced, it's pretty much fine.
Yes.
Because you can find other people who are also divorced.
Yeah.
And it's easier to date.
Yep, totally. So like we started the business like 21 years ago. Every time I say that I feel very old, but never mind.
Actually, that's very brave because 21 years ago, this was not widely accepted.
Yes.
Extremely difficult.
It's true. But I think just on your note about like divorcees, right? Like I think when we first started 21 years ago, definitely it was a bit more challenging to help people who are divorcees to find a match. Because like you say, like maybe people will be like, no, I prefer prefer to be matched with someone who has never been married before. Yeah, but fast forward 21 years later, honestly, like what you have said, like a lot of people have been in past marriages and they are open to dating someone who also have been divorced. Maybe they themselves have been divorced. But even people who are single, I think they are also more open because I think like the mindset has changed. It's not so much so stigmatized that you're divorced. In fact, people might see that since you have one failed relationship and then you're still committed to find someone else, they might actually see that maybe as a good
What
sign.
experience?
Oh, yeah. It's like, you failed once, you know how not to fail.
Yeah. Or you are like maybe more motivated to make it work.
Yeah.
What was your initial motivation to start this, like to help people find love, to be connected? And you are so dedicated for the past 21 years. That's insane.
It all started with I was working in the bank and then I saw that a lot of my colleagues were single and not dating. So at that point I was 22 years old, just graduated, and I actually have quite a number of friends who are like getting married and getting engaged. And I'm like, okay, that's quite interesting. Like, how is it that some of my friends are like getting married, getting engaged, and then my colleagues are not even dating? So I realized that people who are like settling down, chances are they met their other half at school or university. Yeah, and that's actually where I met my then boyfriend, now husband as well. So I realized that if you miss the opportunity of meeting someone at school, it gets a bit more complicated and a bit more difficult. At about that time, I came across the concept of lunch dating, which is something that has been starting to get popular in UK, US, Australia, but nobody was doing anything like that in Singapore or even Asia. And I could really see how lunch dating would fit into the, I would say, the
Busy
time,
schedule of
the schedule.
Singaporeans.
Exactly. So I really fell in love with the idea. And I think, again, it's really about timing as well. So when I was working, I like, you know, it was like a push factor. I remember sitting in the...
I want to quit my day job.
Yeah, I would remember sitting in like
welcome to our
my
life.
cubicle, like my small little cubicle, and then looking at my boss in like her glass office. Yeah. And I think the funny thing is this. The funny thing is, right, like, of course, like I mentioned, I just graduated and I'm also very realistic. I don't expect to be like doing like really awesome things like when I'm only 22. But I just remember sitting there and looking at her and just thinking, I do not want to be doing what she's doing in 10 years' time either. So I think for me, that was like a epiphany. You know, like I think I'm not really cut out to climb the corporate ladder. So I think with this pull factor where I just saw that this really cool solution to help my single colleagues, and then this push factor of, okay, maybe I should try it out and be an entrepreneur. So that's how I quit my job 21 years ago.
Wow. And it's oftentimes people start a business, fail, start a business, fail. Yours is just one. Bam!
All the way.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, like how did I continue to stay on in it? So the truth is, in the last 21 years, like I have met a lot of people who have become friends, people who entered the industry, then they left the industry. And it's not an easy industry for sure.
It's difficult. Oh my God.
I always tell people, I say is, if your objective is to make money, right? I say there's so many maybe easier way to make money. Yeah. So it's like, the thing is, if you do not have the passion to like help singles find love, like maybe this is not an industry for you. So I think for me, like one is really because like I've always been like the unagony of my friends. Yeah, so like whenever my friends have like relationship problems, they always come to me and then I always talk through them, talk through the problems with them. Then I'm like, okay, since I'm already doing it for free, right? Might as well do a business out of it. I think so in a way it's like my passion and interest. But I think the other thing is really, I don't think there are many businesses or even industries in the world where you're not just making a difference to one person's life, but you're really making a difference to like generations to come.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really cool, like the first, we call them like LA, Lunch Actually babies.
Now babies.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So it's like our first like LAB, right, is even older than my kids.
Wow.
Because my husband Jamie and I, we started the business first. Then only we got married the next year. So it's like our earliest clients, they actually like maybe got together or they got married in that first year, and then they already have kids.
Your plan's damn successful. The moment you start, they get married. Oh my God.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
And then like some of like my older clients, because obviously I follow up with them very closely then, because I was like really on the ground also being like matchmaking them as well. Now the business is like grew, so I might not always be like the matchmaker. But anyways, so some of these earlier clients, they're also like my Facebook friends. And then it's really cool because like I'll see every year like the kids are growing up. I'll see like they celebrating their wedding anniversary. So it's just very heartwarming. So that's why I think whenever I think, oh my goodness, why am I doing this? Like then I'll look at some of these photos of the successful couples and also their kids, then it really keeps me going. Yeah.
So with this, right, there's also a downside. Like a hospital, when you're trying to cure someone, right, then the person is not sick anymore. The less the less healthy people, then the less business there is for a hospital. So for this, the more love you connect, right, then technically it's not like it's not a subscription plan technically.
Yes, for sure. So I think that is one of the reasons why this business is really quite challenging. Because what you have mentioned, if it's like a F&B business, right, if your food is good, your service is great, like they love the ambience, then they'll come back. But for our business, it's really, if you've done such a great job, they don't need you. If you've done such a bad job, they also won't come back.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So it's quite challenging in that sense. But at the same time, I guess like our business is, of course, other than doing like the usual like marketing, advertising, we also have a lot of word of mouth lah. So I think it's really cool sometimes like when we hear from, ask them, oh, so how do you know about us? And then they'll be like, oh, my friends got married through you. Or like, I think the coolest is when like they say that, oh, I want to recommend my mom, because like maybe the mom is now a widow and things like that. So I think it's like when you're willing to really refer like your mom or like your kids or your brother, your sister. Exactly. So I think for us, it's like we definitely want to see them successful lah. Yeah.
And then how do you like, because every single time you successfully match someone, you technically lose one client. How do you
two clients?
Did you lose two clients actually?
You're right.
What the heck? Yeah. So how do you like, you have employees to pay and everything. I don't even understand how is this going to happen. It's so difficult.
So I guess like our business is in the sense that there are always singles in the market, right? Because as people grow older, of course, we do have a minimum age, by the way. So we only take clients from 21 years old and above. So of course, every year there will always be new singles who are 21 years and above. Of course, they might not look us up when they are 21, but at some point when they reach like maybe late 20s, they'll start looking for a significant other, and then like maybe they'll come to us, right? So there'll always be, in that sense, like new potential business that comes into the market. That's one. And of course, we don't wish for that to happen. Like we have mentioned just now, there will also be people who like got divorced and things like that. They will also enter the market as well. So
But the concept lunch actually, why not like dinner actually? Isn't it dinner more, I don't know,
isn't dinner more classically
intimate?
That's a very good question. I think I really like the concept of lunch is because I feel that it's like short, sweet and simple.
Or maybe if you don't like the guy, then still can escape a bit.
Yes, exactly.
Your day isn't wasted, right?
Yes. And it's kind of, you can always say that, actually, I need to rush off for work. I forgot actually have an urgent meeting.
But if you like the guy, then become dinner maybe.
Yeah.
Lunch actually, but dinner maybe.
Yes. So it's like we do have dates. Started off as a lunch date, and then subsequently they went to watch a movie, and then subsequently they continue to have dinner. So we have had dates like that. But I just feel that like lunch is period of time where it's like long enough for you to really suss out whether you want to know this person better, but not so long for it to kind of get awkward.
What is your thoughts on like coffee dates?
Coffee dates are great.
Isn't it lunch also?
No, coffee dates is you don't
even shorter.
Even shorter. You don't eat lunch. You just go down to the coffee place, get coffee each. You talk to each other for like maybe like 20-30 minutes, then you see how you feel. And if nothing, then you just go.
Yeah. I think for us, like we just try and avoid dinner as much as possible. Yeah, but because it's one-on-one, so we have done like breakfast, brunch, lunch, but we just try and not call it dinner, because I think sometimes with dinner, people think, oh, it's going to be very dragged out. There's like appetizer, main course, dessert. What if like after appetizer, I'm like, I want to get out of here, and I'm still stuck like waiting for main course and dessert.
Maybe also lead to like unwanted escalations and all that kind of thing, which is like not very good if you are not synchronized with the other party. So by looking at so many cases, right, can you straight away tell something is a red flag? Like a relationship is a red flag. Maybe you can give us like one example.
Relationship. Okay.
Like when you match someone, right? Then you just feel, okay, this is not okay.
Oh, okay. Like when we match someone and we feel that it won't work, then we wouldn't even match them and ask them to go on a date for sure. But I think if we want to talk about red flags, like sometimes, like for example, like you go on a date and then the person is like just constantly distracted. Right? Or like before you even go on a date, the person like just keep cancelling on you for different reasons. They're like, I have urgent meetings, or suddenly I need to make a trip. And I think people do this for different reasons, right? Sometimes like they are genuinely like busy, but at the same time they also show maybe they are not ready to be in a relationship. And all of this are like excuses. Like maybe they also don't know it themselves, but they're just like putting out all of this because they're just so afraid to like potentially end up in a relationship. So they rather not even get there.
For why I understand that fear. It's very scary actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, as a single guy,
Yeah.
I've been single for 8 years. The idea that a girl would just pop up and suddenly, oh, I really like you.
Yeah.
We get
Suspicious.
together.
Yeah.
He feels suspicious. He feels, am I ready for her?
Yes.
Is she just liking me because she's desperate, or does she actually like me? There's a lot of questions.
Yes.
So I can understand the fear of just wanting to, you know what? Never mind, I'm gonna go off. Yeah, exactly.
To lead on to my next point,
Yes.
do men have a harder time on dating and dating apps as compared to women?
Okay, that's a very good question, because I think a lot of times like men feel that way.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for
I never
that,
used before, but I also feel that way.
I think the reason for that is really there are a lot more men on dating apps compared to women.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think when we are talking about the ratio, we are talking about 70-30.
Oh.
Yeah. So if that's the ratio of like men and women on dating apps, you can understand why men just feel like I'm not getting anywhere. And then like women just feel that they are being bombarded by people who wants to talk to them.
Right.
So I think that's the challenge, right? Like for the guys, and that's why it's very interesting. I remember in the early days when like apps first came out, and then I just observed how men and women are using dating apps. It's so funny. It's women, right? They will be like, this profile how ah? Then you ask your girlfriend, you think this one good or not ah? You think this one good or not ah? Then they spend so
Swipe right
much
is
on.
a very big decision.
Yes, it's a huge decision. And then after they talk about it so long, right? Then they'll swipe left. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just so much time. Then I see how my guy friends use dating apps. Exactly. Yeah, they don't even look, right? They don't even look. They're just because the idea behind it is because there are so many more men as compared to women, and then you need to have a double. That means that you swipe like, the other person also need to swipe like. So that's why for men it's like, why bother to check? Just swipe like first lah, and then see who likes me back, and then you decide from there.
Whoa.
I think that's why dating apps has evolved to limiting the likes of guys. If not, you just swipe thousands.
Exactly.
Only for guys.
Only for so I realized that dating apps got there are two different words.
Yes.
For women, right, it is all about presenting filtering options for them.
Yes.
How to filter guys out.
Yes.
It's about giving more options.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's two different games in one app.
It's very different. So I think back to your story about who has it more difficult, I think both ways, right? So for the guys, they feel that they might not be getting as much like mutual likes because the women are selective. And then for the women, especially because honestly, I think dating apps is like quite based on first impression, right?
Yeah.
So I think like girls who probably look very physically attractive, so they will just end up with so much attention, and then they are also a bit like overwhelmed. Yeah.
Analysis paralysis.
Yes. So they're also a bit like, after a while they're like, okay, like I just want to get out of here, because you might just get some type of attention. Because with dating apps, of course, there are people who are sincere, who's looking for a like actual relationship, but you have a lot of bad actors out there as well, right? So
yeah. So actually, before I was here, I was editing a podcast about loneliness, and then we talk a little bit about like female hypergamous creatures typically lah. And girls are always looking to date up, right? And when you date up, there's obviously lesser competent good people up there, like only maybe like top 10% of the male. That's what every girl is trying to fight for. Right? So in that sense, would you consider female dating is difficult in that sense because they are competing against that very small pie?
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas for guy, the difficulty is majority of women are ignoring most guys. That's why they feel that it's difficult in that perspective.
It's actually a very challenging situation, I think, what you have mentioned. So, like imagine, right, if you put like 100 men and 100 women into a room, right, and then you say, okay, you all just need to pair off and just find someone, right?
There's actually a YouTube video.
Yeah, and then what you end up with is like, you're going to end up with the top 20% of women and the bottom 20% of men who's not going to be paired off.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
20% of women.
Yeah, because like you say, when we say top 20%, we're talking about education.
Okay.
We're talking about earning power.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
You mentioned that, bro.
Yes.
More women than ever are entering universities as compared to men.
Yes, definitely. So like we say, women are looking to marry up or like date up. So obviously like, then they are like looking for that like you say, that group of men everybody's looking for. Right?
High value men.
Yeah. So then you're very highly educated women, or then they're okay, I'm stuck. But then that group doesn't match with the bottom 20% men as well, right? Because the bottom 20% men in terms of education is not like what they are looking for. So what will then happen is, but this group of like bottom 20% men, say in a Singapore situation, then they can actually just go to another country to find like women who see them as top 20% men.
Oh, that's the phenomenon of passport bros, I think.
Passport bros.
Yeah, passport bros.
Yeah, okay. Then
this is not phenomenon of passport sisters. Which is insane, because I recently came across this where like women that can't find like guys that value them, they will go into another country. So let's say if a Singaporean girl can't find a guy here, maybe she should go to Germany and find like, some like rich German to marry. Then they also want like an Asian wife, that kind of stuff. So it's like passport sisters go overseas.
Okay, but this one I see there's also another problem. I see there's another problem. Okay, there's this like yellow fever thing, right? Where like white people like Asian girls, right? They see them as higher value, right? So like for example, let's just say you are a guy, right? And then you are low value in your own country. You go to somewhere else, you are being viewed as high value, right? But what happens if your country, quote unquote, is that low value country? Then you have no other country to go to. Wow.
It is a challenge. It is a challenge. So of course, right, from a matchmaker perspective, what we have been trying very hard, what we have been trying very hard to do is to educate our singers to say that ultimately it's like, how would I put it? All of this, right? A lot of times, a lot of these are very superficial criteria, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you think about it, it's okay. If you look at certain superficial criteria, like, okay, for example, let's say the guy now, he's like super rich. But it doesn't mean he wouldn't go bankrupt, right?
Oh, that is perfect. That's what I've been saying for years. If you search all for the same thing, you end up with the same guy. So if you want to find a guy that fits you, you don't search for the same thing. You pick something that is specifically to the trait that you want. So for example, a guy that is volunteering. Clearly he has to be kind to some extent. So if you want a kind guy, don't pick a guy that's rich and then expect him to be. You get a guy that volunteers, then you get a kind guy.
Exactly.
They need keyword optimization.
Exactly.
SEO your boyfriend.
But the challenge is a lot of times like people like they expect all of this, right? They just see it as their secondary, right? Of course, they say it's important to them. Of course, they say it's important to them. But like the primary is like they are looking for someone who like they are dating. You know what we're talking about just now, they are looking to date higher, right? Yeah, so as a result, they are looking for, because, okay, to be fair, right, a lot of women now, they are very highly educated. They earn a lot of money. They are financially independent. They don't need to rely on men to provide for them financially.
This decade especially.
Yeah, so from that perspective, I think they might also feel that if I'm going to get together with someone, like why would I want to compromise my lifestyle?
Oh yeah, that seems to be a very common.
It's a very real mindset, right? Like for example, like now they are like happily buying like their designer handbags. They're happily like going on like holiday, skiing holiday, like Japan or whatever, like few times a year. Like, so to them, it's obviously I want someone who is also at that level. If you are not able to pay for me, it's fine, but at least I don't need to pay for you. Yeah. So I mean, is it wrong? We cannot say that it's wrong as well. But of course, at the end of the day, like what we have mentioned is if everybody is looking for that guy who is like the super rich, the super successful, like everybody is looking for that guy. Then the challenge now is that guy might not be looking for this type of women.
Maybe you're looking for a guy.
Okay, that's possible. But just to give you a very real example, this is really something that has happened, right? So I remember talking to this client of mine. So I by the time I spoke to her, like she's really quite upset, and then she's like, "Oh, I don't want to complain," and things like that. Then I'm like, okay, tell me more. What has happened? And then she's like, "Violet, from now on, right, all you need to do is just to match me with the top 5% of the men in your database."
Top 5% as in what? Height or wealth or what?
She just said top 5% lah.
So
I said, okay, tell me more. What would you mean by that? And then she's, okay, Violet, just look here. I'm like, obviously, I'm very successful. Like, I came from like an Ivy League like university. I have my masters. I work in all the big consulting companies, like all the IBs, investment banks. Like, I am like super well off. Like, I do a lot of charity work. Like, I'm a philanthropist and things like that. So then she's like, clearly, like, you should be matching me with someone who's top % of your database. What is the problem here?
Maybe she is the top %. Nobody higher than her already.
Yeah, maybe there's nobody better than her. Like, I don't have anyone higher than
Okay, so the problem is this, right? So how she is evaluating on why she should be dating the top 5% of men, right, is because she has achieved all the things that she's looking for in a guy.
Oh no! She wants to date herself!
You know what I'm saying,
Oh my
right?
God.
So it's to her, that's what she wants. She wants a guy who is like Ivy
Ivy League,
masters, IB, consulting companies, like rich, philanthropist. I am that person, right? So I
my
deserve to date this guy.
Yeah.
But the problem is, this guy might not be looking for her profile.
Yes.
Oh.
That's the difficulty.
This is a challenge, right? Because if you think about it, let's say a guy who is like this, not to say like he 100% won't choose someone that's like her, but chances more often than not, based on our experiences and also talking to like clients like at this level, they are looking for someone who probably might not want to work after they get married.
Kind and loyal, that's it.
Oh yeah, a loyal girl, because like a rich girl is just gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna take all your wealth, that kind of stuff.
I mean, no, like they might not want to take their wealth, but it's just maybe they just want someone who is like very smart, very intelligent, but also very nurturing. Like someone who is happy to bring up the kids, like someone who like just play a different role.
Is it cannot be like too alpha then? Alpha and alpha then like loggerheads or something?
So to answer that question, of course, like we look around us, I'm sure we have seen cases where both are alphas. So I cannot say there isn't. But again, like in terms of probability,
probability.
I think a lot of guys, let's say they are super alpha, chances are they also don't want to go home and fight with their wife like every day.
I'm right. I'm right also. Everybody's right.
Yeah. So if we cannot say like it doesn't happen. But that's why a lot of these very successful men, when they come to us, like obviously they are looking for someone who looks good for sure, because guys generally are physically
more
driven,
visual creatures.
Very visual, So that's something that they are looking for. And those of them who are like still in like the age group where they want to have kids, chances are they want to have kids. And then based on that, they probably want someone whom they think are like in the childbearing age group. And then like next, like I say, if they're already so successful themselves and like money is not a problem, so to them, it's not to say it's not good you are Ivy League educated, you are very successful, not to say all of these are not good, but these are just bonuses. These are not like the main thing that they are looking for.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's the challenge, right? Because like in the mindset of this lady, like it never occurred to her at all. Like to her, it's I am everything that I want in a guy. So why wouldn't a guy like that choose me?
Oh.
So wait, the conclusion is that did she ever realize that? Or
how do you all break it to her? How do you tell her?
Did she ever realize that, or she just went off away?
I did try to talk to her about it. I said, are you okay for me to give you some feedback?
Oh, this is like a CEO level case. Normal employees, don't handle this.
Yeah, and then because every time I give feedback, I always ask for permission, right? Because you don't want to like just tell someone something that they don't want even open to hearing. So she said, yeah, okay, I'm open to hearing some feedback. Then I'm like, in the last half an hour or so, I think the energy you're giving to me is a lot of masculine energy. Yeah. And then she's, oh no, I disagree. Then she's, oh, I'm actually very feminine. Like when I find the right guy, I will always be very happy to play like a more beta role and things like that, right? But however, there's the challenge, right? Because like when you first meet someone, they would already evaluate you like in the first like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, like first impression. Like you cannot say that when you meet the right guy and then suddenly you turn from this like very aggressive, very masculine energy to the super, like in Chinese we say 小鸟依人, like very feminine. Like it just doesn't work, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so will you say the more successful a woman is, the more challenging it gets? Opposite of a male, the more successful he is, the simpler in general cases, right?
For sure. I think for a guy, like when they are younger, like I think guys like in their 20s, I think that's the time when they find it a bit more difficult to meet someone, because I guess like girls are also like they're looking for someone that, like we mentioned just now, like on par or like higher than them, right, in terms of background and things like that. But then for women, I guess the more successful you get, okay, maybe there are some men who are going to be intimidated, but I think like some men, they are not intimidated, but they just don't want to deal with it.
Oh yeah. I think that because like when someone's like that rich and successful, there's a lot of baggage that comes with it.
Yes.
Like
your family member will say you are, all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Society will
they
judge
just
you.
feel as if I have so many choices, right? I don't need to have to deal with this. Like I can just choose all my other choices, right? So I always say it's like at the end of the day, it's not that you're not good. It's like you are very good. It's just that the person that you're looking for, the type of people you're looking for, they just have so many choices.
Oh yeah. That's basically you might want that, but does that want you?
Yes, yes. So I think on that note, it's very funny. So people often tell me, right, once they know that I'm a matchmaker, they always tell me this, okay? I hear it so many times. They are like, I have this friend, right? She's very good. She's so good. She's so pretty. She's so kind. She's this really amazing human being. We all love her to bits. And I just don't understand why she's single. Then I'm like, I don't even need to meet her. I can tell you why she's single. They're like, wow, really? How? Then I say, okay, since you say your friend is so good, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your friend? How would you rate your friend? Let's say you also have such a friend.
Okay.
So good, like 1 to
Maybe
10.
maybe
9, 10, like that kind.
Okay, that'll be a bit more moderation lah. Okay, let's say the friend is an 8 lah.
Yeah.
Okay, 8. Okay. So I say, if your friend is an 8, right? What do you think she's looking for?
9 or 10 or...
Okay, let's say she's looking for a 9 lah. Then the guy who's a 9, right? What is he looking for?
He's looking
Maybe for
another 9.
or 5 to 9 maybe.
A 10.
10.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Chances are that's how it works, right? Because if I think I'm so good, then obviously I want to look for higher. So I say, now it's very simple. Your friend has 2 choices because the guy that she's looking for is looking for a 10. So she just need to like somehow make herself a 10.
Okay.
Yeah, then,
okay.
yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. Then it will work because it's like she's so good, she wants a 9, then the guy who's a 9 wants a 10, so she just need to somehow make herself a 10. Or the other option is much easier.
You look back down.
Just look around you. There are probably a lot of 8 who are like super interested in her, but they are just not getting the time of the day.
Yeah, for their fellow 8s. But then, okay, then this reminds me of what my secondary school teacher told me, right? Like masculine energy and feminine energy in males and females. Yeah. Like, for example, right, all your girlfriends, right, they were like, oh my God, you're so awesome, right? Maybe you're giving off a lot of masculine energy. That's why you draw a lot of females to you as a girl. And maybe that's also why you repel males, because you're very masculine. You're in your masculine.
Could be. It could be.
Yeah,
it's possible. Yep.
So moving on to the next one, right, is by looking at so many relationships, right, do you have a specific metric where you can look at a couple and, okay, this is like a long-lasting relationship?
Okay. So I think when we are matching, like what we focus a lot more on is really about common values. Yeah. So I think a lot of times people ask things like, oh, is it like opposites attract? Is it like you must have the same interests and hobbies? All of these are like nice to have. Of course, if both of you are like more outdoorsy, then it's nice like both of you can do outdoor stuff together. Or both of you like are both like love horror movies, then can watch horror movies together. But these are things that you can work around. It doesn't matter. Even if one love horror movies, the other one doesn't, I'm sure you can work around it. So
I agree.
Yeah. So same.
I don't like spicy food. She likes spicy food. I like to go out. She don't go out. I don't like horror movies. She loves horror movies.
Exactly. So it doesn't really matter. Then the question is, then they say, oh, is it opposites attract? Okay, in your case, it sounds a bit like that. But at the same time, I also don't think it's like that's the key to it, because there are also people that they are very similar. Like they enjoy same things, or like they are the same frequency and things like that. So that's why I feel all of these are just nice to have. But why it's very important is really like values. Because for example, let's say family values, I think that's something that's important, right? So for certain people, like family is very important to them. They're like, oh, I need to see my family like every week, don't know how many times. Then another person is, it's okay, I don't see them for 3 years, it's also okay. Then it's a big problem, right? Because it's like the person who don't see their family for 3 years to be like, hey, why you must go to see your family every three times a week? And eventually that would create some issues. Or maybe even once they have kids, or one want to have kid, don't want to have kid. So all of this thing will create issues. Or for example, financial values. Yeah, so like different people, again, they manage money differently, and like their ideas about how to deal with money is also different. So these are things that if it's too different, eventually that's going to create problems in the relationship. So I think for us, when we are matching, like we are looking at whether they have similar values. Or for example, like some people, they are like, oh, like, I want to improve myself all the time. I'm like a seminar junkie. I'm always like attending new courses. I'm like listening to podcasts, like watching YouTube, whatever. And the other person is like, it's okay lah. I'm quite happy the way I am. So it's okay at first, but eventually there's going to be problems.
Yeah. So that's considered values as well.
Yes, values.
Like self-improvement.
Yes, self-improvement values, yeah.
Like morals also, that kind of stuff. That also has to fit for relationships to work.
For which one, sorry?
Moral, or how I see, like for example, would I help someone on the street?
Yeah, for sure. Those are values again, right? So I think like we all have like different like moral compass, or we have different priorities. Again, I think sometimes there's no right or wrong. Like some people might choose to deal with things in a certain way. But then it's too different. Then that's just going to create like a lot of friction like in a relationship in the long run. Yeah.
That is a very smart way to identify this, because it's so hard to like quantify this unquantifiable thing, right? What makes a good, successful relationship? Like sometimes people ask me, hey, how you and your girlfriend can last for like 7-8 years? And then I'm like, our toxic trait just match. I don't even know how to describe this. And then it's like, actually it's shared values.
Yeah.
I don't have to go back and see my family every week. That is very true. Yeah, for her also, it doesn't matter so much.
Yes.
Yeah, we just need to be in each other's company doing things that we like together. Yeah, that's so true. And then how does like a lot of people always talk about, okay, I like this, you like this, then we connect, right? Do you see people connecting through past traumas as well? And did it actually work better than shared interests?
I think honestly, I think when we realize that maybe a client has like really past trauma, like during our conversation with them, then we'll also see whether they are ready to be in a relationship.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think to be fair to like the matches that we give to them, right? We also want to make sure that when we do a match, like both are like ready to meet new people or ready to at least explore. Because I think when people have like certain traumas they're still trying to get over, then it might be a bit difficult for them to be in a relationship. What we usually do is, if we know that there are certain blind spots or roadblocks which we think our coaches are able to work with, then we will usually recommend that they go through some coaching sessions first. Yeah, but we are not a therapist lah. So I think if they really have something in the past where they really need to talk through with a therapist, then obviously then we might say that, okay, maybe you want to do that first. But if we feel that they are ready to look forward, then we will go through coaching with them. Yeah.
So at Lunch Actually, you're try to screen through everybody in the initial phase, right? Like before you join this Lunch Actually, you actually talk to that physical person to make sure this person is a real person.
Yes.
You are actually single.
Yes.
I got a question.
Yes.
Has anyone ever tried to use your service to cheat on their other half?
Okay, so in Singapore, right, I guess the great thing is that we have our marital status on our SingPass.
Oh.
Yeah. So
last time, how do you do it before the SingPass thing?
Oh, last time, because I'm not sure whether you remember SDU or SDN, Social Development Network, Social Development Unit. So in the past, they have an accreditation framework, which they have demolished like a couple of years ago.
Government body lah, for marital status and all that.
Yes. In the past, we were accredited by SDN then lah. So what we can do is we actually run through like the database with them, and they will check with ROM on the status of the members. Yeah, but now because like I mentioned, SDN is no longer around, so we'll actually check the SingPass of the people who sign up with us lah. But okay, I always say this lah. The truth is, right, if there's someone who really have the intention and really want to lie to us, I'm sure they will succeed lah. You know what I mean? Watch all these con men.
Unhackable
Exactly.
Yeah,
but
like they have a secret wife in Vietnam. And then
exactly.
SingPass still single, bro.
Exactly. But what I always say is, however, because there are so many more layers, right, for them to become a member, because first they need to meet us, then we'll check their like identification, we'll ask for education, search, like pay slips, all of these things, right? So I just think like the level of hurdle they need to get through, like they might be better off just maybe using some lower threshold sort of ways to do it. Like, yeah.
Okay, that's a very good security.
But now that you're merger with Paktor and then you start to enter the digital realm, right? Has that become more challenging to upkeep as compared to when it was just Lunch Actually only?
I think Paktor actually has also been quite in line with some of this. So Paktor actually has two arms. One is called Paktor and one is called Gai Gai. So Gai Gai is
also Paktor. Oh my god.
So Gai Gai is also like an offline service. So I think Paktor generally also have been quite on the same page in terms of like security and things like that. Even before the merger, within the app itself, there are also like measures to screen out some of this, be it scammers or be it like bad actors in that sense. Yeah, but of course, I think I always tell singles like when you're going to use a dating app, you also need to be very careful. Because there are genuine people, like I do know of like friends who have met their other half through a dating app, but of course there are also people who have been scammed as well. So I think if you're going to use a dating app, you need to really be very on top of things if things are too good to be true, chances are it's too good to be true. Yeah.
Looking at some of the dark side of the dating app world, right? I came across a Reddit post actually I shared with her.
Yeah.
Is that I think this guy was working in some dating app company in Italy or something.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
he said that their app, right, they will plant certain employees inside to match, right, to give a better satisfaction when people use the app. But at least you kena some match, that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. How do you all like prevent that, and were you all ever accused of doing something like that?
So I think for us, clearly we have been in business for 21 years now. So
Reputation
I
is-
think reputation is key, like credibility is key. And I think like I mentioned just now, our objective is really the longevity of the business and making sure like word of mouth, like people continue to introduce like their friends, family to us, right? But of course, I think from a dating app perspective, honestly, there are of course very credible dating apps, but there are also like maybe some dating apps out there that, because it's a business, right? So if you think about it from a dating app perspective, it's a subscription model. So it's like unlike Netflix, right, where you can just like subscribe and then you keep watching like whatever. I don't know. I've been with Netflix. I don't know, like forever, right? You know what I mean? You just keep subscribing. You keep watching. But I think with a dating app, clearly it's like you subscribe the first month, it's very fun. Like the second month, like maybe not so fun anymore, but you still try. Okay, to cut a long story short, like usually the timeline for a single to use a dating app is about 4 months.
Oh.
Yeah, so usually people churn every 4 months. So it's from a business perspective, let's say you are not a very clear business, you think about it. Of course, you start to think like, how can I stop someone from churning at that fourth month point? Yeah. Yeah, which I mean is obviously not ethical. Like just like in any business, not just a dating business. I'm sure in any business there will be like your ethical and the non-ethical companies, right? So like maybe in this Reddit post that you are talking about, maybe this person is working in one of those like unethical companies lah, where they'll just be like, okay, how am I going to make sure that this person is going to churn? I know this person is going to churn. Let me just plant in some maybe fake profiles, or so that this person like want to talk to this person. And
Feel
then
like there's hope.
yes, exactly. And then they continue to subscribe.
Oh.
Yeah. It's unfortunate lah, but like I say, I think any industry you will have such unethical companies. Yeah.
Especially like we in the music and clubbing industry, right? There's so many clubs that want to open, close, right?
Yes.
You can feel the intent. Whereas the people that are like slow and steady one, right? They are here for a long time, for a good time, for an ethical time.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the way, bro. Yeah. And leading to playing the long game, right? Like, we always look at a successful relationship as not something that is sexy but sustainable.
Yes.
That's something that I face more and more. So I don't know, like whenever people that have when I was young and then I was like still figuring out what dating is, right? I had YouTube as my friend, and then I see this bunch of dating gurus. They are single, so it doesn't feel very trustworthy. But like for yourself, you're a very successful relationship, a long-term relationship. Do you have any like tips and tricks on how to maintain this like sustainably lah? Because a lot of people look at it as like a very very like sexy, glamorous kind of thing, right? But it's actually more work than that. A lot more work than that.
Yes. I think definitely. I think maybe sometimes we're also brainwashed by all of these like Korean dramas and like Hollywood movies and whatever not. Clearly, like when you watch all of these like movies, like it's very feel good, and it's always show like the first part of the relationship where you like look into each other's eyes and then you're like so mesmerized and then you fall deeply in love and then it's like super passionate. Like they rarely show then what happens, right? Because that's not very interesting and probably nobody want to watch. But the truth of the matter is that even when people get married, like people spend so much time like preparing for the wedding. Yeah, they spend so much money, so much time preparing for the wedding. But if you think about it, the wedding is just the very beginning, right? The major part is actually once you get married and then what happens.
So who do the laundry, right?
Yeah, so I think like sometimes people just need to realize that a marriage is maybe it doesn't sound very fun or very sexy, but it is work lah. Because I always feel that marriage is if you like pushing up like something up the hill, right? If you don't, you just keep it there, okay, like it won't fall down. But you don't keep pushing up, then you just roll down. It's a bit like that lah. Or if you look at it as a plant needs like sunlight, it needs like water, it needs like fertilizer to grow, right? So it's the same thing I think with a relationship or marriage as well. And I think the best marriage advice for longevity is actually something that I read like I think in a newspaper article many years ago. So like when I read it, I did a double tick. So what happened was that this journalist was asking this couple who has been married for 50 years. I think the couple is 70 years old or something. So they asked, so what is the success? What is the secret to your success? And then the guy actually say, we never fell out of love at the same time. Yeah, and I just felt, wow, I really did a double take. I'm like, okay, I need to hear this again. We never fell out of love at the same time, which I think is something that's very interesting because I think when people first fall in love, it's really, wow, how like super passionate, they are like crazy about each other, intense. But definitely along the way, there'll be times where you feel a bit like, wow, I'm like, I really hate this person. It's like there's so much resentment or things like that, right?
Like the ebb and flow of
Yes,
between each other.
exactly. So I think what this Lily gentleman have said is like, because like at any of those points that one person held on. Yeah, and I think that is the
teamwork.
that is very real. I think that's why I think sometimes people need to realize that love is like not a feeling. Because I think we always say, oh, love is a feeling. But I think love is more than that. Love is really a choice and also a commitment. Because there will be times when you're like, oh my goodness, like my partner is so unlovable or I'm so unlovable. But you just need to keep pushing on.
Sometimes I ask myself, is it more worth it to stay single or is it more worth it, right, to be attached? Yeah, like mathematically thinking about it, right? Because like the partnership has to be like a Lunch Actually Paktor partnership, right? It has to be like 1 + 1 = 3, right? Then it's worth the extra effort, because if it's gonna degrade the overall like output, then it might not be worth it, lah.
So I think my answer to that is really, it's worth it if you find the right person. Yeah. But it's true, like, if you find someone who's just going to make your life more miserable, right, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, correct. It must be work, but it still need to be fun. It still must be loving. Love, ma.
Yes.
Right. I've got a really interesting question. How do you deal with like the rise of incels online? Like, I'm pretty sure you have met some in your dating app. And how do you deal with these kind of people and like those people who they come to your service and they expect to live with a girl? Like this kind of like weird and entitlement.
I think it's not easy lah. It's really not easy because I think sometimes it's also the mindset that I'm paying for something, right? Yeah. So I think what we are trying to do is also when we decide to take in someone as a client, we also will see like what we have mentioned just now, whether the person is ready to be in a relationship. And then we also will look at like their dating preferences and what they're looking for. If it's clearly like it's not going to work, like it's very unrealistic or unreasonable, then we also do not want to take them in because like in a way we are setting them and also ourselves for failure lah. Yeah, but I think like in these cases also, if they are open to coaching, because I think to be fair, like none of us are taught dating in our life. We are taught like English, mathematics, geography, history. But nobody teaches the most important thing, which is like how to date and things like that. So I think of course some of us like pick it up along the way, but I think there are some of us like maybe we'll just focus on other things or just never have the opportunity to. So I think if they are open, I think we have had quite a lot of success working with some clients who like might have never been in a relationship before, or they might just maybe have some challenges, like some blind spots, and we have successfully coach them to eventually become successful in a relationship.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very cool actually.
Yeah.
Talking about the business side of things, do you eventually intend to one day open like a school for dating, teach people? It's a general awareness actually. Because if you know how to date, be a decent human being, right? Society will be so much better, don't you think so?
I think like we currently have coaching. So we have a lot of different coaching, like be it for singles or for couples, and then we also cover like different aspects. Like so we have on like date coaching, we also have on like image coaching, and then we help people to work on their confidence and things like that as well. But I agree with you, it's at some point it's really about going downstream. Like I really feel that like the best time is really like when our kids are in school, right? Maybe not primary school, but like maybe by the time they are in like upper secondary or JC, poly, I think those are maybe good times to just share some of these relationship skills with them lah. Yeah, because again, like I say, there are people who, it just comes very naturally to them and then they are like amazing at it, right? But I think some people just need a bit more guidance and just a bit more help lah. And I think it's better like we start younger than to wait later, like until like they are in their 30s and things like that.
I agree, because I hang out on this subreddit, Singapore dating scene, and it's like you have a lot of like young kids that come in with like really weird views on what dating should be, and it's like you can see like the older generation be coaching them like, no guys, this is not what you should be doing. Don't spend $200 on your date with this girl first. Go for something cheaper. more relaxed. That kind
Yes,
of, yeah,
yes,
that's
yes.
what I agree. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I also had more understanding of dating when I was younger.
Yes.
So lastly, other than like a monthly subscription model, do you all have any other services that you provide to keep the company running, like upselling in a way, the look?
So actually for us, like for the app itself, the Paktor app is a subscription model, but for Lunch Actually is actually a package. So people like come to us after the consultation, they will sign up for a membership. It could be like 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, depending. And then we also have another service which is called Piraj. So that's like our headhunting for love service. Yeah, so because for Lunch Actually, like we are matching clients to clients, so both are actually our clients. But for Piraj, is when we match, it could be a non-client. We are actually like going out there to headhunt lah, like for
So
them.
they don't get to swipe right. You pick. It's like blind date in a sense.
Yeah, actually, our Lunch Actually service is a blind date. But I think Piraj is like another level in the sense that we actually go out there and look for potential matches for them and not just looking within our database.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you set up the date. You also find the venue.
Yes, yes. So we do everything. Like, so I think like why a lot of singles are after a certain point in their life, right? They come to us because some of our clients, they are like professionals, they are doctors, lawyers, and then they are paid a lot. They are paid a lot for each hour of their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like rather than spending the hour like swiping, they probably feel it makes more sense for them to outsource to us lah. So we basically do everything. Like we meet them for the consultation, and then after that we will curate the matches. We'll introduce the match to them. We will arrange the date. We will remind them to turn up for the date, and then after the date, we will get the feedback from them, and then from there we'll go back to matching again. So basically, it's like a concierge service lah. Like we do everything. So on their end, they just need to turn up, enjoy the date, and get to know the other person better. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
You all use MBTI or horoscope?
I think for us, it's more like a nice to have, like what I mentioned just now. Yeah, so I think it just helps to like provide like more data points, like more maybe conversation topics. But I think ultimately we still feel that the matching itself is really more on common values.
Common values.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, so I think that's it for today. Do you have anything that you want to shout out, let our audience know, like any new service or anything that you are launching?
Do you want to say?
I'll just say that if you're single and you're looking for love, I think the most important thing is really to take that first step. Yeah, because I think a lot of times, like maybe people have this idea that they are waiting for serendipity, right?
Oh,
Yeah, like they're just like I'll just if the right time happens, like the right person will come along and things like that. Which of course it has happened. Like people have said to me, like, oh, my friend told me she met the love of her life on an airplane. I'm like, yeah, of course, like that has happened, right? But at the same time, I think there's no point like just waiting for that to happen. If you are looking to be in a relationship at some point in your life, I think you need to be putting yourself out
male
there.
or female, irregardless.
Yeah, male or female,
Oh, that's a very good saying. Your Prince Charming might be stuck in a tree, so go out and look at trees.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you so much for today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.